I don't know why I couldn't get the audio recording to line up. I've got 52 seconds to fill at the beginning of this video, so I'm just measuring out the lentils. It's 2 cups of lentils that I'm going to begin to wash thoroughly and proceed to make my lentil bake. So I hope I can get this audio to work out now. If it's not in sync, then I've given it my best shot, and I hope it works out. Thank you for listening. Let's see how it goes. So I could add a musical break while I wait for the audio to start if I was very clever at technology, but I'm not. So here's another filler for a few seconds and hope we get started. Hey, I'm going to try this again. So this is me washing the lentils, giving them a wash twice in warm water, get rid of the starches. I use that whisk to give them a good clean, which is very helpful. This is my little rice cooker, which you take out the steamer part and give the lentils another thorough whisking to clean them off. So I'm making a lentil bake in the steam, in the rice cooker. I've been experimenting with this and I've had some really good results. So it's an alternative to using it for making rice, which I have been using it every day for that. So just trying to go grain free. So anyway, we're starting in on the onions now. I'm going to chop them up and put them in the frying pan and prepare the base for the lentil bake. And I'll leave the lentils in to soak while I'm doing that. So just getting the onion ready. Like chopping my hand off. I use the, I don't have chopping boards. I always use the Tetris pack, which I open up and uses my chopping boards. And I find it's a good way to get some use out of those packs. And they're very handy for folding up and pouring into pans and things. And then when they wear out, I just throw them in the bin. So put some olive oil in the pan and chuck in the onions. 1 good size red onion to start with. Then I'm going to chop up some mushrooms. You could add anything you've got. You could try it with peppers and courgettes even, or all of it. It's not a very big rice cooker pot, so it's only about 1 litre, I think, that miniature rice pot. So I'm just chopping up a bunch of mushrooms, fairly small. And there we are. Drop it in with the onion. And give that a good old stir. I've got an electric hob and it's terribly slow. I think gas is probably a lot more responsive. But it is what it is. Right, so I'm going to start adding in my flavourings. I've got salt, good old chunk of salt. And then some black pepper. I never measure anything, so my recipes are usually forgotten the moment they're finished. Then I've got chilies flakes. I have to buy these in bulk because I use them just about everything. Never wanted to put too many of those in, but just enough. Now I'm putting in my favourite organic vegetable stock cube, which pretty much goes in everything I make. Give that a good old mix up. The idea is to put this pot on in the morning before I go to work, and we're fortunate enough to be able to eat at home at lunchtime. So I come in and it smells delicious and it's all finished. So this is ground coriander, again just a sprinkling of that. You can put anything in really. I'm experimenting with sort of mild curry flavour. I put this, I call it Neutrogena form of yeast flavour. It's very tasty, and we've got the lazy garlic. I'm so lazy in the kitchen. You could, obviously it's better if you use fresh garlic, but if you're busy and rushing out the door like I usually am, that's what I use. What's next? We've got the mild curry powder. Pretty safe, gives it a good bit of flavour without being too hot. Like generous 2 teaspoons of that. And some linseeds, or sesame seeds. Linseeds, I think they are, because why not? They're full of omegas, they're very good for you, so just add them in. Give that a good stir. So I'm not in a studio doing this, so if the dog barks any minute, he'll ruin the audio and probably burst some eardrums, so hopefully he'll stay quiet till we get this voiceover done. Right, so that's simmering nicely. So I think the next stage is to, we're going to put the rice vinegar in. So I've been following along a lot of Japanese recipes. This is, I think, 59ml serving. So I just use one of those for the white rice vinegar. And then the same for the mirin. It's kind of just like flavour enhancing. I've been experimenting with Japanese cooking and wouldn't call this a Japanese style dish, but I would say that those 2 ingredients are very, very tasty indeed. They pretty much enhance anything you make, I think. So that's a little bit of liquid in there now. Now I think I'm going to add the red lentils. So giving them a last clean with the whisk. That a good old mix up together. Should have used a bigger pan, I think. So again, you could add in some tomato puree. I don't use tomatoes. That's my preference. Try to avoid them, so. But that would be an option, would be very tasty. I do like the taste of them, but they're not very good for inflammation, so that's my choice. So I think it's time to transfer the mixture to the rice cooker without knocking the camera over. Just about the right quantity. You don't want it to be overflowing. It's probably a little bit on the too much side, but we'll risk it. Now I'm just going to use the filtered water side of my tap. So that's 1 cup, and I think I'm using this water just to rinse out the pans. I always think you leave behind some flavours in the pan. And then another one, just one more, I think it is. You want to be able to have enough water, but not too much. It's really difficult to know exactly how much. I think I add a little bit more for luck, but you don't want to go mad with water. See, it's quite liquid because those lentils will take up most of that water. And then pop the lid on. Make sure it's plugged in. Click it onto so the red light shows, and ta-da! That's it now. Walk away, and it does the first 20 minutes of boiling quite rapidly, and you can just leave it. When it stops, it'll click onto the yellow light, and then when it's on the yellow light, it'll be quite cooler, just a warm setting, and it will steam it through till it's done. So this was about 3 hours later, and that's it. So it's taken up all the water, and the idea for this particular one is you can either eat it straight away, have it with some salad, or you can leave it. What I'm going to do with this is leave it to go cold, because it sets like a nice savoury lentil bake, and then you can either heat it up, or I like having it cold with salad. So there we are. I believe that's the end of the video. Thank you for listening.